Hey there, Froglio here, your friendly underfrog of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just completed a very small Swiss tournament that was called Toronto Time Capsule 36, a Tengu Format tournament that only had 6 people actually, so there were 3 rounds, non-elimination rounds, and there was no top cut, so it was just whoever got the best score after 3 rounds won the tournament. So this is the deck I took to it. So relatively low stakes tournament overall. Um, but yeah, this is a lot of cards in this deck, and I'm going to go over the replays and stuff of my personal results. But the deck I took is one that I kind of thought of by myself fairly recently. Of course, it takes a lot of like generic staple cards like the Chaos package and a bunch of good traps and obviously the staple spells of the format, but also adds in a cool warrior package here. So we have a duo of Goblin de Burg and Rose Warrior of Revenge, the main duo that I kind of thought of that I wanted to try out. Because what these cards do is that Goblin de Burg, you can normal summon it to special summon, and then you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. And she's like the main target that I try to go for if I do get the 2 card combo, because she is a level 4 tuner, and there's no other good level 4 tuners in the format. The only other level 4 tuners that I can think of in the format are ones that are very specific. Like, you cannot use them as synchro material for anything except for like a specific type of synchro. But this is a generic level 4 tuner, and she's also a warrior monster. So she, along with the Goblin de Burg, is searchable by reinforcement of the army, and you can also get them back from the graveyard with Warrior returning alive if you do decide to put this in the deck. I put it in the side deck because I feel like it can be kind of iffy as to how good it is, and it's situational. So, but it, yeah, definitely can search it from this. But also other warriors I thought of, and someone also sort of suggested this little package to me, is the Six Samurai package. Not this specific package. I don't think they suggested Kageki to me. They actually suggested Elder to me, but that was also for a different list of different deck I was playing. But they're the ones that brought the Six Samurais in general to my mind, which I otherwise was not thinking about even experimenting with. Like, I've always known the Six Samurais were around, but I wasn't really sure if there was a way I could splash them into a deck of mine. But I decided when I did get that on my radar because someone brought it up to me, um, with Elder and stuff, I came up with this combo, this little mini package here of Kageki plus Kagamusha. Because what happens is it's similar to this duo, except you summon the Kageki instead of the Goblin, and you special summon the Kagamusha instead of her. And instead of getting a level 8 synchro monster like Stardust or Scrap Dragon, you get specifically what's it called? Here it is. Legendary Six Samurai Shien. This is limited to 1 copy in this format, so you can only have one of these in your extra deck. And it's a very, very powerful synchro monster with 2,500 attack, which is a formidable amount in this format, while also having the effect to, once per turn, negate a spell or trap card your opponent activates as a quick effect, and then destroy that card as well. So, yeah, so it's a spell trap negate every single turn. So, having this 2 card combo, you summon this, special summon this, you make that for 2 cards, and then this also searches out your level 3 or lower 6 samurais, which these are. So this is kind of like an extra Rhoda for them, but they all are also warrior monsters. So you can search them out with reinforcement of the army. So it's actually kind of consistent to get this package online, at least some sort of duo, because not only do you have these duos and this duo, but you also have the duo of Goblin de Burg and Kagamusha. So this is like, an in between sort of duo where you would normal summon Goblin de Burg, special summon this, and now you have a level 6 synchro. And since they're both Earth, you can also have that be a Barkion, which is 2,500 attack and can basically infinitely negate trap cards, so long as you have cards in the graveyard to banish, which a lot of times you will if you go into this. But if you don't want to go into it, you do have obviously Brionic as an option, or in this case, Orient Dragon. Brionic is obviously better in most situations, but this is good against synchro monsters as it will banish a synchro monster your opponent controls if it's summoned. So yeah, 3 different level 6 to go into if you get this package, and again, you have this to search this to search that. So it's fairly consistent, and I do have 1 copy of DD Warrior Lady in here as sort of like a toolbox warrior that you can search off of reinforcement out of the army. She can just banish any monster that she battles, whether no matter how high or low of attack it is, she can just banish it. So if you're attacking into a low attack monster that she can get over, you can choose to let it go to the graveyard, but if it's something like a Sangan or something that has some sort of pesky graveyard ability, you can choose to banish it instead and they won't get the graveyard ability. But if they have higher attack than her, then you can just attack into it, take some battle damage, but then just banish the monster anyways, even if they can't get destroyed by that battle. So she's a really, really good toolbox card. She can get over Gotcha Kentetsu really, really well in Agents, as well as a bunch of other problematic cards. So again, nice to have in the deck at 1 copy just to have a way to, deal with things. And she's also searchable by Sangan. In fact, this is searchable by Sangan, and these 2 are also searchable by Sangan. And Sangan is searchable by Tour Guide. So again, another way to add consistency. And then I do have 2 Call of the Haunteds in here, which is a generic trap card, but it's not necessarily played in every deck. It is played in a lot of decks. I did not play this in my previous deck that I was playing, but I decided to throw in here because I feel like it gives me a bit more staying power. It gives me a bit more of a grind game, and it allows me to revive things that otherwise wouldn't be able to get more than 1 use out of, in addition to the Monster Reborn. And of course, triple instant fusion because my instant fusion targets being this for a level 4 Dark monster, which can help fill the Grave of Darks for BLS, or this as a level 4 Earth Warrior monster, so I can potentially go into a, what's it called, a Barkion play here. I do have Beast in the deck. I actually don't know why I have Beast in the deck because I can't actually summon it in here properly. Oh, actually, yeah, that's right. I can because of instant fusion. So here's what I have a level 3 Earth. So if I have Kagamusha plus instant fusion, this is another 2-card combo. See, there's lots of different little 2-card combos among these, with Kagamusha having a lot of them. 2-card, 2-card, 2-card. So Kagamusha is really important, which is why I maxed out on 3 of these. And you also have the 1 of that, 1 of that. But Kagamusha plus this equals Naturia Beast because you can special summon this level 3 Earth non-tuner, and this is level 2 Earth tuner. So 2 plus 3 equals 5, and both are Earth, so that's how you get a Naturia Beast. Forgot about that little 2-card thing, so that's why Naturia Beast is in here specifically for those 2 cards. Otherwise, you can go into another level 5 like Alley of Justice Cataster. And yeah, and then I have rank 3 for Tour Guide and rank 4 just in general because I have lots of level 4s and plenty of. I have 6 lights and 1, 2, 3, 3 darks, 6 lights and 3 darks in the main deck. But I do have more darks. Like I have an instant fusion dark and a Cataster as a dark, and then Xian as a dark. So even though my darks are a little bit low in count, I do make up for that with the extra deck, especially with Xian and the Dark Fire Dragon, and plenty of lights. And Utopia's a light as well. So that's basically the gist of the deck. Now let's just get right into my replays of the actual tournament we had. Just a small little tournament, but it was fun. It was a good way to test out this deck for like the first real time. So here we go into round 1. So they won the rock, paper, scissors, so they get to go first. And they're playing Amazonas, which is not considered to be an amazing deck, but it is a solid deck. And I did see them search the Chainmaster here, I believe. So, and even if I didn't, I'd probably go DD Warrior Lady here anyways to try and banish it so that they can't. Because what Chainmaster does is if it's destroyed by balancing to the graveyard, you can pay 1,500 life points to look at the opponent's hand. You actually get to see their entire hand and they get to steal a monster from their hand. You might remember this card from the anime when Mai used it to take Merrick's Winged Dragon or Raw from his hand. Well, it has the exact same effect in real life, just with a 1500 life point cost, which I don't know if it had in the anime, but that's what I'm facing down. However, DD War Lady is perfect here because I can attack into it and then banish her so that she won't get her effect, because she has to be destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard to get that effect. Because otherwise he would have been able to see my full hand and steal a monster. They could take my effect veiler and have a fourth effect veiler possibly, or a third one, or whatever, how many effect veilers they have. Or even the Kagamusha if they want a level 2 tuner monster. So there's actually options there because they already have an effect veiler. So maybe they want a level 2 tuner, so DD War Lady is actually quite huge here. But I don't really have a ton of other good options in my hand either. And now Sage is hard here because Sage, if she attacks and survives the attack, she can destroy a spell or trap card. So I don't really want her to destroy my Solemn Warning. So I try to deal with her in a bunch of different ways, but it doesn't really work out for me. I end up going minus a bunch. I do wall off a bit with Kagamusha's 1800 defense, and that's another nice thing about the 6 Samurai package, is that even if you cannot use them for synchros, you can wall off with their 1800 attack and 2000, or 1800 defense and 2000 defense, respectively. But here I'm pretty much dead. They got Nat Beast online, so I can't use Instant Fusion. They got this, so I can't special summon. And they even have Dark Bribe, so even if I do try something, they can just negate it, and Forbidden Lance. So they're basically just ready to win this game right here. I'm basically just controlled out because of the snap. Not just the Nat Beast, but just their entire board. I mean, look at all the cards they have compared to me, so I'm just completely out of the game at this point. But we do have a game 2. These are best of 3 matches. And yeah, you can see I try to do stuff, but yeah, there's nothing I can do. But now it's my turn to go first. Game 2. Down 1 game. I get to see their hand now. I get to shuffle their DD Warrior Lady back in. They go for the Sage, which I actually have an out for, which is DD Warrior Lady. See, this is another good use for DD Warrior Lady coming in clutch. And then I get to destroy their bottomless, and I'm going to go for a rank 4 play. So now I have control of the board. And yeah, they're just being defensive. They do get to see my hand here, unfortunately, but they won't get to take a monster because they can only take monsters, not spells or traps. So they got to see my hand, but that's about it. And yeah, I try to reborn their Sword Woman back, but they revived it back first, so I couldn't do that. Got a Stardust online with a Utopia, so 2 Ace monsters, the Ace monster of the 5D era and the Ace monster of the Zexal era on board at the same time is pretty cool, and I won the game off the Call of the Haunted. They're reviving Rose back, I believe. So now we're going to game 3. Whoever wins this game wins the first match of this first round. And I go straight into Stardust combo. Like, people rarely ever summon Stardust in turn 1, so I figured it might be kind of strong. Oh, and since I destroyed this by battle, they're going to get my Kageki here. I accidentally shuffled it into the deck because I thought it was Dust Shoot or whatever. Or, like, my brain just wants to shuffle it in because of Dust Shoot all the time, because Dust Shoot shuffles in, but she actually steals it, so they get my Kageki and they get to set it for that 2k defense, but I do have a Stardust, so it doesn't really matter. And I got another Kageki, so I actually get to go into my 6 Samurai Shien here, so now I got Destruction Protection and a Spell Trap Negate. I let them do that, but then they go into DD Warrior Lady here, so I could have negated this. I didn't want to in case they had another thing to kill me, and they did. They had Dark Hole, but I could have negated Dark Hole with Stardust anyways, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I probably should have negated this because now they got DD Warrior Lady, so what they can do here is they can summon the Warrior Lady, attack into one of my monsters, take a bit of damage, but then they just get rid of that monster, whichever one they deem to be more threatening. Of course, I do have a Monster Reborn. No, yeah, actually, no, that's a really clean out because it banishes See, that's why I like this card a lot, because it is really good at what it does in these types of formats and in these types of situations. Because while I do have Monster Reborn, I can't reborn something that's banished. I can only get from the graveyard. So yeah, this really hurt me getting that DD Warrior Lady. However, what they decide to do here, for some reason, is they set it. So they set the DD Warrior Lady instead of attacking. So now I get to choose what monster gets banished. However, that's actually not going to happen because, first of all, I tried a Monster Reborn here. They have Dark Bribe, and I can't negate Dark Bribe because it's a counter trap, and counter traps are faster than monsters, basically. So I can't negate counter traps. So that has to be negated. But the thing is, Dark Bribe does let me draw a card as part of its downside, and I draw into Solemn Warning. So instead of attacking into the DD Warrior Lady, I just wall up here, putting that in defense position, setting that, and I wait for them to flip some of the DD Warrior Lady. And first of all, they do Dark Hole to bait out my Stardust, but that doesn't really do much. I don't know what that does, but for them, they just wasted their Dark Hole there. But yeah, they do flip some of the Warrior Lady. I negate it with Solemn Judgment. They summon that, and then they equip this. So what they're trying to do here is attack my guy, and then this effect will kick in, allowing her to destroy my guy with the effect, even though it's the attack points are lower, and she also will not be destroyed by battle. However, because this is a spell trap negate, I can just negate it with Xian. So it doesn't really work out for them either. They try to attack into this, but it's too high defense, and I basically just win the game right here, I think. Yeah, I negate that. Yeah, I won the game. So I win my very first round here, the very first duel of this tournament. So now let's go into round 2. I am playing against Jim Bob, and Jim Bob is basically playing Tengu Plants, aka Plant Synchro, but with the volcanic shells. I actually faced him in a previous tournament using the same deck. He 2-0'd me though in that tournament. However, I was using a different deck and arguably a much worse deck, so perhaps this deck can fare a bit better. I do win the rock, paper, scissors this time. I get to go first, and just take a look at all the stuff I'm able to do here. And yeah, I just quickly won game 1. I got game 1 very easily, so now I have the advantage in this tournament, but he does get to go first this round. Someone's double Tengu. And then here's where I sort of wall off with this card, because 1800 defense, these are 1700 attacks, so this one guy is going to stop all of his attacks from going through. But it kills my Mirror Force, unfortunately. But yeah, this gives me a few rounds to pass by because it's 1800 defense. So even though I can't use it for a synchro, it still stalls a bit. And now I can go into Utopia here. They negate it, unfortunately, but now now they can use it as a tuner, so that's bad for me ultimately, and they get their Tengu back. That's their last Tengu, so I just banish it, but then they reborn my DD Warrior Lady, and we go into a bit of a chain here where they end up getting the advantage. And then, yeah, unfortunately it's Dandelion, so now they have more of a defense. And there's not really a lot I can do here. I try to go into like a chaos play sort of, but then they negate it with that. So I would have had game there if this was not something that could have outed this. I would have had game because I could have just attacked into their 1 token, attacked them directly for 3,000, then finished them off at 2,800. But unfortunately, they had the judgment, so that did not work out. And now they have the advantage here with all the cards. All I got is a Scrap Dragon and a Dream at this point. And yeah, they have the out to Scrap Dragon, and I lose. So now it's going to game 3 here. Whoever wins this game wins the match. And oh yes, I bricked really hard in this match, unfortunately. The game deciding match here, I really bricked hard. I got 2 Kagamusha, 2 Rose Warrior Revenge, and they do not synergize with each other at all because they're both tuners and they're both like normal summons typically. So the best card I have is Tour Guide, and they negate it with Valor. So absolutely horrendous start despite getting to go first. And yeah, they out my guy. I out theirs, they out mine. I try and negate the Tengu because I don't want them getting a bunch of card advantage with it. And then I go into that guy but then Thunder King Ryo negates it, so there isn't much I could do. So I did lose that match. I'm down 1-1. I have one more match in this tournament because there's only a 3-round Swiss match. So the next match could determine my placement, whether I'm like a top placement or not. So, oops, wrong one. So here's my final match. Me versus Benno here. I think it's just called Ben on the Discord. And he's playing Worms, and he gets to go first as well because he won the rock, paper, scissors. So now I have a Yagin to deal with and a W Meteorite here. This is like the strongest card in Worms because it can get him some draws and it can get a big boss monster out, though unluckily for him, he got the boss monster in his hand and it only summons from deck. So while he can still get value off of this card, and he has 2 copies of it, which is pretty decent, he won't be able to summon the boss monster with it. So that's bad for him, but we'll see how it plays out here. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult for me to know how to play against Worms because they just play so differently compared to everything else. Yeah, I shuffle back the Honest with the Trap Dust Shoot. And yeah, they summon this guy, attack over my guy. I try to attack over their guy. It works. Yeah, and then they just bounce my dude back, but I negate it with Solemn Judgment. They get their keen out. This guy's a bit difficult to deal with. He can destroy stuff, and he's 2,700 attack. So even though they didn't get it from the meteorite, still they can still tribute summon it with a reptile monster. So here I'm trying to go Effect Veiler, normal summon this, special summon Effect Veiler to go into a Catastor to try and kill us because Catastor can destroy anything with its card effect as long as it battles it and as long as it's a non-dark, and seeing as this is a light monster, can just destroy it with its effect. But I will be met with an Effect Veiler of their own. However, I do have a Monster Reborn, so I get their Veiler and do the same play anyways. It's just that I'm down to Monster Reborn now, which sucks. And now they get the Yagin because of this. So now they're going to be able to bounce my guy back to the extra deck. I try to get control of the game back though, but they have the poison. The poison automatically kills any monster that it battles, basically. So they had the out to it anyways, and there's a ton I feel like I could do about it. Maybe I could have made a different play there. But yeah, they just win the game here off the tour guides because I didn't really draw into anything that could stop it. So now we're going to game 2, and they go. No, I get to go first this time because I lost. They got the Trap Dust Shoot off of the duality, so they get to pick any monster in my hand and shuffle it back into the deck. I summon my Rose, trying to sink in the damage. They do not negate it. And they got the Worm here to try and search one of their other worms. They negate the tour guide their Veiler. They get their Zex. I have a Veiler for their Zex, so they're not going to get their Yagin. And then I just Mirror Force it away, but then they bring it right back with Call the Haunted, so we just kind of go back and forth there. They really want to keep their Zex online. They're doing they're throwing everything at the wall to protect this one little worm, and it's working, and I can't stop it. So this is definitely like a grind game that's just kind of back and forth with these interactions. Like I try to do one thing, they negate it. I try to do another thing, they prevent it or revives a guy. So it's just kind of back and forth like that, which is kind of fun, but also a little bit stressful too sometimes. Because it's like I'm really just trying to close this gate out so I don't get too woed, and they just keep coming back. They have the answer for everything I do, and sometimes that's and I also made a big misplay here. What I probably should have done here was activate instant fusion before summoning that. Don't remember why I remembered that as being a misplay. What Yeah, I don't remember why I thought of that as being a misplay. I do know it's a misplay somewhere, but I feel like I should have used instant fusion first, and then gone into that. Or no, this is different. This is later. I think that's a later mistake. But now I do have this 2K defender here, so this blocks out Thunder King from getting in. So again, these six samurais have these incidental like positive to them that they're just good on defense, even if I can't go into a synchro. And I just really love that about this package. All right, so here's where the misplay happened. So I use mind control on this before the instant fusion, where I should have instant fusion first before the mind con, because what happens next is I go for the instant fusion play, and there they go. He books this. So what I should have done is instant fusion first. Well, he could just still booked it later. So because I needed to see whether or not this would have gone through before I mind controlled. But if they just waited to book until I mind control anyway, so I don't think that's the biggest misplay. The result of this game is probably the same either way. But I wasted both cards essentially. Like regardless of how it would have shaken out, I lost both my cards for like nothing. And now they have the out to my 2K defender. Try to pump this up to 3,000, but this guy can do the exact same thing and still crash into my guy. And then he attacks into that. I have a 2K defender again, so now they have to deal with another 2K defender down to 900 life points. I'm trying to just do something to squeak in the damage, but they have like all the answers to everything. It's so difficult just trying to squeak in that last bit of damage, doing as much as I can here, but they have a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, I just cannot get anything to stick, and they end up killing me with the Worm King, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it for my tournament run there. I ended up getting 1 win, 2 losses. So I didn't do like the worst there, but I was like the second worst out of the 6 players. The person that actually won the tournament though, guess what? Was Amazonas. So remember, I played against Amazonas in game 1, so I actually technically beat the person who got first place. Though it was kind of a weird because with having a small sort of Swiss run, the tiebreakers and stuff get kind of weird with determining who the winner is. So the actual winner is Jim Bob, the guy who played the plant deck with the um, scatter shots, no, not scatter shots, but what they're called, the shells. He actually won the tournament here, but the deck that they uh, featured here is simply Zerg's, which is the Amazonas one that we saw. So it's kind of weird, like Jim Bob like won, but so did Simply Zerg. It's kind of weird. They kind of like tied for first place almost. I do think Jim Bob had the better stats technically. He had 2 wins, 1 loss, whereas Zerg had 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 bye. So I do think Jim Bob does probably deserve to win more in general, but Zerg did beat Jim Bob, so it's kind of weird. Like they dueled against each other and they beat Jim Bob, and I beat them. Jim Bob beat me, so it's kind of weird. I consider them tied for first place basically. But so this is the deck they have featured here. They have Jim Bob listed as the winner. It's kind of a weird thing, but 6 players overall, and I actually got my first ever like tournament match win. Like I didn't win the tournament itself, but I did win a match out of the tournament, and I won against like the guy who is credited for first place, yet not credited for first place. It's kind of weird. So my win, while it was against the deck that was theoretically and not a very good deck, because Amazonas are definitely very much rogue and kind of considered bad, but it's also the deck that is getting credited for winning this tournament. So it's kind of a weird. It's like a good win. It's just a win, you know. But I'll take it. I'm getting better, and while my deck isn't quite as spicy as it was previously, I do think it is still a very unique deck build. Um, Still a unique deck build that I can do well with. So I look forward to doing more testing with it. But for now, that's all. Froglio signing off. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.